The wrong bank, the wrong time, the very wrong bag. Dave wasn't a criminal. Let's get that straight. He was just a regular guy with terrible luck and a habit of making very, very bad decisions under pressure. Like the time he mistook a wedding reception for an all-you-can-eat buffet, he wasn't invited, or the time he tried to impress a girl by doing parkour, missed the jump, and ended up on live television stuck between two trash cans. But nothing could compare to the day he accidentally stole $1 million. The setup. It all started on a perfectly normal Tuesday. Dave needed a new toaster because his old one literally exploded. Long story, don't ask. So he walked into town completely unaware that he was 10 minutes away from making national news. Now, here's where it gets ridiculous. At the same time, across the street, a group of actual criminals was in the final stages of robbing a bank. They had masks, weapons, and a plan. The problem? Dave also had a plan. A simple one. Walk into the bank, use the ATM, leave. But Dave had no idea that the robbers were about to mess everything up. The chaos begins. Dave walked into the bank right as the robbers were making their escape. Panicked, one of them shoved a massive black duffel bag into Dave's arms and whispered, "Act normal," before sprinting out the back door. Dave blinked. He looked at the bag. He looked at the people screaming on the floor. He looked at the security guards rushing towards him. And instead of doing the smart thing, like, oh, I don't know, dropping the bag and sitting down, Dave freaked out, which is how he ended up running out of a bank with a bag full of stolen cash. The getaway, that wasn't really a getaway. Now let's be clear, Dave was not built for running. He was built for sitting, eating snacks, and watching action movies where other people run. But here he was, sprinting through the city, holding $1 million with two security guards, three police officers, and an old lady with a rolling pin chasing him. He turned a corner, almost crashed into a mime, kept running, tripped over a hot dog cart, and finally ducked into the first open door he saw. Big mistake, because Dave had just run straight into a police station. The interrogation. 2 minutes later, Dave sat in an interrogation room sweating buckets. A very unimpressed detective sat across from him, arms crossed. "So," the detective said, "you walked into a bank, took a bag full of money, ran, and then, let me make sure I have this right, you hid in a police station?" Dave nodded. The detective stared at him. Dave stared back. Then Dave, with the brilliance of a man who has never had a good idea in his life, blurted out, "I just really needed a toaster?" The detective face-palmed so hard it echoed. Meanwhile, across town, while Dave was busy setting new world records for dumb decisions, the real bank robbers were in trouble. They were supposed to be escaping to Mexico, but instead they were arguing over a GPS malfunction. "Why are we in a McDonald's drive-thru?" shouted one of the masked men. "The GPS said turn left," the driver yelled back. "I was talking about highway left, not burger left." Before they could fix their mistake, police cars swarmed the parking lot. One by one, the robbers were arrested in the middle of ordering chicken nuggets. The twist back at the police station, Dave was seconds away from jail when an officer burst into the room. "Sir, we checked the security footage. He's innocent. The real robbers planted the bag on him." The detective sighed. Then he turned to Dave. "You're free to go." Dave exhaled the biggest sigh of relief in human history. He stood up, shook the detective's hand, and walked out of the station, still holding the bag. Because in all the confusion, no one had taken it from him. And that is how Dave walked into a bank, accidentally stole $1 million, got arrested, and then just walked away with it. The moral of the story? Dave did the only thing he could do. He went home, ordered a really, really nice toaster, and never stepped foot in that part of town ever again. But sometimes at night when he toasts his bread to golden perfection, he looks at the duffel bag under his bed and whispers, "Best mistake ever."